20. It is still July the 9th, 2004. This is our second interview today. It is our 142nd interview overall, and we're at the home of Billy and Peggy Dennard, and would like to first of all thank you for allowing us to come and do this interview, for a good meal too.
I'm glad you came.
Oh yeah. And let's start out with your full name.
Okay, it's Billy Hugh Dennard.
Okay. Is there any significance to the name? Is it a family name?
Well, my dad was named Hugh.
Okay. All right. And what's your date of birth?
3/27/26.
Okay. All right. And what was your rank at discharge?
I was a yeoman second class.
Well, Yeoman Dennard, where were you born?
I was born at a little community on the Colorado River between here and San Saba called Big Valley.
Big Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it your mother was there at the time?
Well, yes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your mom. What was her name?
Her name was Maud May.
Okay.
And before she married, her it was Maud May Long.
Okay. And what would you tell folks about her?
About her?
Yes.
Well, her grandmother was named Jane Long. She lived to be 95.
Yeah.
And during those days, you know, they didn't have nursing homes, and grandmothers used to come stay with their kids and their nieces. And she told us a lot of stories about the Civil War and the fighting the Indians. She was a widow lady, and had to be pretty tough.
Wow. Do you remember any of the stories she told?
Not too many. I was real young at the time, so
That'd be pretty
I just
fascinating.
found it was interesting though, when because that would made her. She died in 1937, so that would made her a pretty old teenager when the Civil War started.
What would you tell folks about your mom? What was she like personality-wise?
Well, we grew up on a farm and we had to work real hard, you know. It was back during Depression, and she worked real hard trying to keep us all together and keep us in food, and did a lot of canning. You know, in those days, all the people in the community got together and we did a lot of canning. And our main source of social activities consisted in making homemade ice cream.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we all
social
got together, and it's a pretty neat little community.
Yeah, it would be.
Mm-hmm.
That would be. Okay, but what about your father? What was his name?
It was Hugh Baxter Dennard.
Okay. And what would you tell folks about him? What kind of a fellow was he?
Well, he was just a hard worker and just was a farmer, and that's about it.
Was he?
He was a good guy. We took us to church. At the time I was a little baby, we went to a little country church.
Do you remember the name of the church? Or
Yeah, it's Big Valley Baptist Church.
Big Valley Baptist Church?
And it's still going. Now it's been taken over by some Latinos have the church down there now.
Yeah.
Because the people in the Big Valley were all displaced in 1948 when Leonard Brothers Department store in Fort Worth bought the whole valley practically and set it out in pecans.
Huh.
And my grandpa had a farm down there, and they bought his place. His own went down the river.
Yeah.
And if you go to San Saba, you can see the pecan orchard just about a mile before you get to the river.
Yes.
And it just goes around and covers the whole valley.
Huh.
In 1937, we had a big flood, and it got over the whole valley.
My. Yeah.
And it washed, he had a little rent house, 4-room rent house down the river, and it washed about a mile down the river and lodged it in some pecan trees.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be sickening to.
Then they retrieved it and moved it to higher ground.
Yeah. They retrieved it?
I don't know how they did it,
Holy
but they did.
smokes.
Yeah.
Wow. That is really something. Usually you
So-
think that it'd just be lost in a case like that.
Mm-hmm. And I went to a country school for 8 years, and then had to bus me to Goldthwaite for my last 3 years.
Now, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I have 1 sister living and 1 brother, Charles, that y'all will be interviewing.
Okay. Well, go ahead and tell me the names of your brothers and sisters,
Okay.
and a little something about
Oh,
each one.
okay. The oldest sibling was my sister Virginia,
Okay.
and she they lived in Grand Prairie, and she worked at the aircraft factory, and they moved back to Goldthwaite,
Yeah.
and she was a LVN nurse, and then my oldest brother Charles, he was a rancher. He had cows and goats, and he also had worked at an aircraft factory in Fort Worth at a helicopter factory.
Okay.
And my younger brother lived out in West Texas, and he ran service stations and worked for El Paso Natural Gas for quite a while. And then I have a little sister that lives in Jow, New Mexico, and her husband had a business out there in Jow, and she helped him in the business, but they're now retired.
Well, that's just about the right size family for.
And I was the middle one. And also my wife Peggy was the middle of her 4 siblings.
Yeah. Now, were you on a farm kind of away from other kids, or were you more like a town where you were a little closer together?
Well, in the farm we was all, in those days in the 30s, there was a lot of little farms, and they were all real close together.
Yeah. Well, how close would be the nearest
About,
farmhouse?
half a mile less.
Okay.
hmm
That's
And there was a
pretty good.
bunch of them within a half a mile.
Yeah. So you probably had plenty of
Yeah.
friends to play with.
Oh yeah,
all
and
in
we
Milwaukee.
raised turkeys. We used to raise a flock of turkeys and let them run wild.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I hunted skunks and possums and skinned them. And for the skunks, you got 25 cents.
Yeah.
For the possums, you got 15 cents. But I didn't have a gun, so I never could get a coon. They brought 50 cents.
Ah.
And that helped, in the 30s, if you could get a quarter, seemed like a lot of money for a kid.
Now, what's the trick to catching a skunk without being on the wrong end of that
Well,
situation?
sometimes you did get sprayed,
Yeah.
but if you did, you didn't go to school, or they'd send you home.
It may be a
A
good
lot of them
reason
got
for-
sent home. And we had, one of the guys had a carbide light, put on your head.
Yeah.
And it'd shoot up a light, and you could spot them in trees.
Huh.
And went swimming in the creeks in the Colorado River. Of course, went swimming nude. We didn't have a bathing suit.
How deep was the river in that area?
Oh, it was, some places you could practically, when it's down, you could practically walk across it, and then other places it's pretty deep.
Okay.
Had a lot of catfish in it.
Did it? Yeah. Yeah, I bet you did some fishing.
Yeah, it's pretty good, yeah.
Sound like a great place for a kid to grow
It
up.
was. It was a great place.
Now,
We rode horses and did all kind of stuff like that.
now you probably had some jobs on the farm that you didn't particularly like.
I didn't like picking cotton.
Yeah.
And in those days you pick cotton and school wouldn't start till all the cotton was picked.
Huh.
It might start in late September. That's the way
really?
they started school.
Huh.
And we had a lot of pine trees on the creek.
Yeah. When you were a kid growing up, did you have any personal heroes, maybe like cowboys or aviators or someone in the community that you looked up to?
I guess I mainly looked up to my school teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the community, yeah.
Remember some of them and their names and.
Well, let's see. I had my first 3 years in the country school. I had the same teacher. Her name was Ruth Featherston.
Okay.
And then after that, I had Nippy Bird, which eventually married one of my mother's first cousins named Woodrow Long.
Okay.
And then I had another teacher named Mr. Doss and Mr. Charles Conrad, and he taught me agriculture in 8th grade. And his daughter is now, you may have heard of her, Jody Conrad. She's the head girls basketball coach, been there since 1977 at the University of Texas at Austin.
okay.
And her mother lives here in Goldthwaite.
Yeah. Huh, I'll be there. Yeah, basketball's big in Indiana.
Yeah,
We even sent you one of ours to Bobby Knight,
yeah, Bobby Knight, he went to Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, didn't he?
Yeah.
What do they think of him down here?
Well, I think they like him out at Lubbock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard too much comment on him. But in
Bobby's
Lubbock, as
kinda
long as
guy.
he's winning, I think they like him.
Yeah, he's one of those guys you either love him or hate him.
Some may not, because he pulled some pretty good things up there.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a division up there when,
Yeah.
when he left, as who liked him and didn't. When you were in school, was there any particular subjects that you liked better than
Well,
others?
let's see. I liked math real good. I liked it okay. And typing and bookkeeping
Okay.
and English. I like most all my subjects.
Yeah. I was never a very good typist. A lot of fellows in the war,
Yeah.
the typing helped. That's maybe why you wound up being a yeoman.
Well, it
the
was.
typing?
Yeah, when I went aboard the Franklin, I went down to the gunnery office and asked for a job typing, because if I wasn't going to be a typist, I'd be swabbing to death. Yeah. And so I was one that made out of working parties, put the other guys on swabbing decks with their division leader tell me who put on the working party.
Now, when did you actually move out of Big Valley?
When I got out of high
When
school,
you got out of high school? Okay.
I graduated when I was barely 17.
Right.
In those days, you just had to go 11 years. And then I went to NVHA school and down at close to Austin called Inks Dam.
Okay.
And from there, I went and worked at Consolidated Aircraft Factory in Fort Worth until, excuse me, until I was about ready to become 18, and I quit and came back home. And then I went to college at Brownwood Howard Payne College for one semester, and then I got drafted.
Okay. Now the schools you went to, grade school, was it a fairly good sized school, or?
It was, I don't remember. It wasn't too big.
Well, I mean, was it one room or was it?
No, we
it
had about
3 or 4 rooms?
4.
Yeah. It's not a bad sized school.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Do you need to stop and get something to drink? And
Can you cut it off a
put it on
minute?
pause here. Okay.
I had to ride a bus to school about, I guess, 12 miles. We had to go around that valley and pick up all the kids when they bused us to Goldthwaite. And then we'd drop off the kids that were still going to Big Valley,
Yeah.
because it just went 8th grade to 8th grades
And then the high school, where'd you go to high school?
here in Goldthwaite.
Okay. In Goldthwaite.
And
Where was the place to take a date in high school in Goldthwaite?
up on the mountain. And they got a lane just down the ways here from us they call Lover's Lane.
Yeah.
A lot of them went down Lover's. It connects this little road here over to Highway 6 going to Sinsaba.
Yeah.
Just a short little road.
Yeah. Were you involved in sports or anything? when you
I
were in high
played
school?
tennis.
Played tennis? No kidding, really? Yeah, my daughter and son, well, my son not so much now, but my daughter plays tennis.
I was too small to play football, and living out in the country, you know, you couldn't, you had to have a way to get home.
Yeah.
And I was just real, just weighed 131 pounds, and I went in the Navy.
Yeah. Well, that's a good size because they needed a lot of smaller fellas for a lot of those jobs that they had.
Yeah.
Couldn't take a big guy and stick him in the tail of an airplane.
No, if you real big, they surely wouldn't put you on a submarine.
No, no
You had to
submarine.
be certain size.
So you went to, you graduated high school in 43?
43.
43. Okay.
I went in the Navy on, I believe it's September 25th of 44. And After I got out of boot camp, they sent me up to Bremerton, Washington.
Oh.
The Franklin was being repaired. It had got a kamikaze during the Battle of the Philippine Sea in the past October.
Right.
And we were replacements for about 117 that got killed in the
Oh,
kamikaze attack.
Well, let's just back up just a little bit. December 7th of 41.
December 7, 41.
They attacked Pearl Harbor.
Well, I didn't know about it till went to Baptist church that night.
Yeah.
We had something called BYPU,
Okay.
and Baptist Young People's Union, and then I found out that Pearl Harbor had been attacked, and I didn't even know where Pearl Harbor was.
Yeah.
I never had heard of it.
You remember your reaction to it?
Well,
Or was it just so foreign that you
it's
really...
just so foreign to me. I was a junior in high school. I know the next day when Roosevelt declared war, we had a radio in our, I believe it was the geometry class, and we listened to him declare war and make his speech that this day would live in infamy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a speech.
Hmm.
2 years later, you graduate high school. So
I graduated high
knew,
school.
You knew during that time that you'd probably get swept up in this thing because you could follow along. Did you have a movie theater here in town where you could
We did.
kind of keep track of things? That they'd have the newsreels and stuff, wouldn't they?
They did. They had the old movie tone, newsreels and others. Yeah, we.
Did you get involved in any scrap drives or bond drives or anything while you were while you're still in high school?
I did. I got in. The bond drive was after I had come home on leave after Franklin had got hit. We got a 30-day leave. The lady at the movie theater had, at the time they were showing the picture, the fighting lady, and about that while I was home they broke the news about the Franklin, and they had the newsreel at the same time that they had this movie about the fighting lady, which was very appropriate.
Yeah.
And she had me to come up on the stage, stop the theater after the show, and was supposed to have made a little speech. I don't think I said very much. Anyway, she had a bond drive, and she dedicated all the bonds to me and the Franklin.
Okay. So you got drafted?
I got drafted. First time I went to Dallas, they asked for the Navy and they put me in the Army. And that didn't count, so they waited 5 months to call me back and asked for Navy again.
Yeah.
And so they let me have the Navy.
And why'd you choose the Navy?
Well, it's so small that I didn't think the infantry would. Been pretty hard carrying those packs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just always wanted to be in the Navy. I'd seen Navy war pictures of fighting Sullivans and and I just wanted to be in the Navy.
I didn't think the Fighting Sullivans would encourage a guy to join the Navy because they all died, but
That's true.
yeah. So see, they were killed in 42, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Somewhere around one of the battles off of Guadalcanal.
Yeah.
They were killed.
And after that, the Navy wouldn't put siblings on the same ship.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine those parents. I mean,
That
they
was
came in
that
and
was
told
really
all
terrible
five.
thing to happen.
My word. Your parents had to be pretty worried about you.
Well, I guess they were. I'm sure they were.
Had your dad been in service?
No, he hadn't been in service.
Okay. Not that. So you told them you wanted to join the Navy, and they finally agreed to it.
Mm-hmm. Then they sent me to San Diego for
San
boot
Diego.
camp. And then after that, like I said, they sent me up to Bremerton, Washington.
That's the farthest you'd been away from home, probably.
It was. I never had hardly been out of Goldthwaite. I think
Yeah.
first I'd ever been, I went Fort Worth one time.
Okay.
In a 4-H. Belonged to the 4-H.
So what do you think of that? Just seeing the world?
Oh,
like
I
that?
thought that was great. We went to Royal Rogers Coliseum, saw a rodeo, and
Oh.
I thought that was really great.
Oh,
And, you know, in those days, we'd always ordered stuff from Montgomery Ward,
right.
and they had a big Montgomery Ward store in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
We were right close to it.
Yeah. So when you went to boot camp,
Went to boot camp,
so
which was about 10 weeks.
how was boot camp?
How was it?
How was it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. The main thing I didn't like is I got really tired having to row those boats. You know, they made us do that, and they made us box, and they put me with a great big guy, and I was real small, but he didn't hit me too hard. He kind of faked it. Otherwise, if you didn't box, the instructor would box you.
You wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
How were your instructors? Were they pretty tough on you, or?
They were pretty good. I just learned not to volunteer for anything because I did volunteer. They said a good job, and they put me picking up cigarette butts.
Yeah.
Then I know one night somebody left a mop and a bucket in the barracks, and nobody would admit who did it.
Yeah.
And he waited till 3 o'clock in the morning, woke us all up, and we all had to carry that bucket and mop around the room. It took one solid hour.
They don't have much sympathy for
No, they
your
don't.
sleeping, do they?
No.
So you went to from boot camp in San Diego,
Mhm.
and then you went up to Bremerton.
Bremerton.
Okay. Now at this point, had they really assigned you any position? Were you a yeoman at this point? or-
No, I was just signed to a gunnery division.
Okay.
And then from there, I went down to the gunnery office and see if I could get me a better job.
Okay.
And I was able to do that.
Now what had you done in gunnery to that point?
Well, I hadn't done anything much, but that was my battle station, was on a gun mount. I passed the ammunition.
Okay.
I was in the ammunition room, passed out through the porthole.
What kind of a gun was it?
40 millimeter twins.
Okay.
Twin 40 millimeter. And I slept on the ammunition when we had a lot of unidentified planes coming in. We had to stay up most all night. Bogies, they call them.
Yeah. So in Bremerton, you asked for a new job, and they wound up.
I asked it, and I ended up being a yeoman striker.
Okay.
And when the Franklin got hit, all the yeomen got killed nearly. So they advanced me from, when you get out of boot camp, they make you seaman second.
Okay.
So they advanced me 1 month to seaman first and yeoman third without giving me any tests because they're short of yeoman, as long as I could type.
Yeah.
So coming back, I helped type up notices to the families. You know, in those days you had to type each one up.
Mhm.
You said the same thing except you changed the name. We regret to inform you. And I typed up maybe over 200 of them.
Not very pleasant duty.
No, it wasn't.
Not physically, it's not much fun to do, but just knowing what's in those notices and where they're
Yeah.
going, that'd be kind of tough.
It's of course nowadays I'm sure they have a lot better method of doing it than
I'm sure.
typing individually each one.
Now, when the Franklin itself, how old was the Franklin?
The Franklin was relatively new. I think it was commissioned in about probably, I guess, 43.
Okay.
It was one of the newer ships.
And in size, how did it compare to the Enterprise of Lexington?
It was, I think it was of the same class.
Okay.
Yeah, the Hornet, the Hancock, and the Yorktown, they all were of the same class, I think. The
Okay.
biggest ships they had, and it's one they have in Corpus Christi now. You know, I think the Lexington, they have it down there on display.
That's about the
Same
size?
size of it as it is.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Good comparison there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you went on board, you were assigned to the Franklin at Bremerton.
Mm-hmm. I got to Bremerton, Washington on Christmas Day, December 25th, 1944.
Okay.
And we were there just about a month. And then we set sail for Hawaii. First we went down to San Francisco.
Right.
And then we went under the Golden Gate Bridge. And no, let's see, I guess we went on the Golden Gate Bridge probably. And then we set sail for Hawaii. And during all that time they had training. The pilots would practice flying and have a drum tailing behind, and the people on the gun mount would practice shooting at it.
Okay.
And that went on and on. That's all the time we heading out
Now,
toward Japan.
when they called out general quarters, what was your battle station?
It was on the gun mount.
It's on the gun mount.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How close was the clearance between the Golden Gate Bridge and the islands on the Franklin?
I guess it's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know how high that bridge is.
I don't know, but when I had to go back during the Korean War, I came back on a troop ship,
Okay.
and we came to San Francisco, and I took a picture as we went under it, which I still have.
Yeah. So you sailed out and headed for Hawaii.
And we had 1 day's liberty in Hawaii.
Okay. What'd you think of Hawaii?
Well, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yes.
The climate was good, and
That's a long way from Big Valley.
I drank a lot of pineapple juice.
Yeah. What'd you think of the ocean? The first time you got out on the ocean away from land?
Well, of course, I'd never seen the ocean before.
Yeah.
It was something.
I've never been in that position, but I've often thought it would just be a pretty
I think
awesome.
I'm gonna have to stop a minute.
Okay.
I had to stand guard a lot, and I'd watch the flying fish.
Yeah, that'd be something to see. A lot of porpoises.
And it seems like those birds, follow the ship all the way across.
Yeah, how could they fly that far? That's things that.
I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
They'd throw the garbage back off the fantail, and they did it.
Now, do you have any idea how many destroyers escorted you on the way over?
I really don't know,
Or
but
did you have much of an escort between?
we had not too much until we got further on
Okay.
toward Japan.
Of course, by that time we'd had them pushed back their direction pretty far.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We'd already taken Midway, and we liked taking Okinawa and Hiroshima. Those are the main islands hadn't been taken.
Okay. Now, where'd you go from
I
Hawaii?
think Hiroshima was about finished, but Okinawa hadn't been taken, and we went from Hawaii. They didn't tell us nothing from then on. We didn't know where we was going. We didn't know we were going within 50 miles of Japan,
Wow.
because they's fixing the,
Go ahead.
You need a drink of water, so you'll quit coughing.
we were going out there to bomb the southern coast of Japan, Kyushu.
Okay.
They had a naval base there, and to soften them up for the invasion.
For the invasion of the home islands?
Uh-huh.
Okay. This is before you went to Okinawa?
That's for Okinawa was taken.
Wow.
I think the Battle for Okinawa was fixing to begin about March the 30th. And I used to listen, well, before we got hit on March 19, 1945. The day before, I was in sick bay. I had what's called cat fever.
Right.
Went in on Sunday morning and let me out on Sunday night. And the next morning, one of the bombs they dropped went hit in sick bay
Oh my,
and killed everybody, including most of the doctors.
wow. So you went to the coast of Japan, 50 miles off the coast of Japan.
And when we got hit, the ship went out of control and it started drifting toward Japan.
Okay, now this is before Okinawa, or was it?
This was before Okinawa.
Okay, but it was before Okinawa that you got hit?
Hmm.
Okay.
I believe that's right.
Okay, all right. And you were just launching small planes against the Japanese
We'd
islands?
only had gotten about one day's operations in,
Okay.
and they fixed to start on the second day.
Any trouble with submarines in the area, or were they pretty much?
There probably was some out there, but I never did hear about them. But I just heard, when I was in sick bay, I heard Tokyo Road. They had a radio down there, and she said there's a large task force headed here, but you're not going to get here. We're waiting for you.
Huh,
We didn't take her seriously.
yeah. Yeah, she wasn't that big of a threat, was she?
No.
She's more of a joke than a
And
threat.
when we got hit was March 19, 1945 at 07:07 in the morning.
Wow.
And we'd been up, most all of us had been up all night long because bogies had been coming in, unidentified plane. General quarters would secure, and here in just a little while it'd sound again. Another bogey was coming in. And I was down, they let a few of us go down to mess hall at a time to eat breakfast, and I was in the mess hall, and I never did get to eat. And when the first bomb, they dropped, 2 bombs on one of them was armor piercing. It went down, went down sick bay and exploded. And all I could think of, I couldn't think of what was happening. I knew the ship was shaking. There was tiny 10 bombs stored in the mess hall. I thought some of them had gone off. And
Well, you can make an aircraft carrier shake. You really got quite an explosion.
but the thing about it, we only had one plane that got off that morning to bomb Japan. And then we had 60 planes, 59 others waiting to get off. And so when the bomb hit, it set all those planes off, and all those bombs and all that aviation gasoline went up, and that's what tore the ship apart.
Were there any pilots in the planes at the time you were
There
here?
probably were.
Oh. Well, they didn't have a chance, did they?
I know a lot of pilots got killed. We lost. A lot of them were in the radio room just awaiting,
Right.
and they got killed.
Wow.
And when our compartment, they dogged all the hatches, and you couldn't get out because it was burning on all sides. And our compartment filled up with smoke. And it was dark, all the lights went out, and it was real dark. And we were down there 2 hours. And there was one doctor trapped down there. He says, you want to pray, pray silently, don't pray aloud, because you use up too much air and we don't have much.
Huh.
And I remember crawling around on deck trying to find some air in the cracks. And finally, after 2 hours, this engineering officer who came up from the ranks, Lieutenant Donagiri, and he knew the ship better than most anybody, I guess. And he worked his way up to our compartment, and he had a breathing apparatus. It had 2 hours of air in it, and he had a light. And he says, if there's a way out of here, I'll find it. And he started searching, and he went down to the 5th deck to the engine rooms, and the air intake, was about that big around.
Right.
And it had little steps on it, and it went way up, and there was a screen at the end of it, and so he knocked that out, and then you could jump down on a gun mount that stuck out, one of the 40 millimeters. And as he was looking for a place, you know, he's afraid something bomb go off and smash the stuff that was there. And he first wasn't standing. He says, I might as well stand up. It won't make no difference if, you know. And so he found this escape route, and so he let a few out at a time, and he had us to hold to each other's belt.
Right.
And that's the way we got out, and everybody got out but one guy, and he apparently panicked and he suffocated.
Oh. Wow.
And then after that, I got out and found a burning ship in disaster.
Now.
My intentions was to jump overboard when I got out,
Okay.
but I didn't have a life jacket, and so, and also it was real cold, and the sharks were in that water, and so I changed my mind about jumping overboard. I said I'd just take my chances aboard the ship.
Now, how many kamikazes actually hit the Franklin?
Oh, well, this the one that dropped the bombs wasn't a kamikaze.
Oh, it just dropped bombs.
But he just flew over it, came out of a cloud. One of the other ships warned the Franklin is an unidentified plane. They had one is unidentified, and this plane just came out of a cloud and swooped across the deck and dropped those bombs. And then I think our plane that got off shot him down.
Okay.
They shot him down. And after I got out, there was all the ship was exploding, you know. Some guy from another ship counted the explosions, and after he got to about 43, he quit counting. He said,
Holy smokes. Well, we're just setting off ammunition and
it's setting off ammunition
aviation fuel.
and bombs on those planes.
Oh.
And you could, in my news reel, you could see them as they go off.
Yeah.
And those tiny tin bombs, rockets they had underneath the planes, is underneath the wings.
Right.
And they kind of started shooting across the deck in every which way, and they'd make a sound as they shot off.
Huh.
And everybody duck and dodge and lay down. And then they had poured so much water on Franklin from the other ships, and we had some water that was working, that the ship was leaning, you know, about 20 degrees, I think, 15, 20 degrees, and it's about to capsize.
Heavy list.
So he finally got that kind of balanced out, and but was about to capsize.
Did he counterflood the ship a little
I
bit?
think he kind of flooded it to balance it out.
Okay.
And one time, I think he turned the ship wrong, trying to get the flames to blow off from the ship. Instead,
Right.
they blow across the ship.
Wow.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, we didn't have no power. We started drifting out of control toward Japan, and of course they could see us burning. And they sent other planes out to try to finish us off.
Right.
And then they dropped some more bombs, but they missed. And then they made a strafing attack. At that time, I was on the bow and I hid behind something
Yeah.
real thick.
Yeah. Now, if you take the whole carrier, which part of the ship really got hit? Was burning?
Really bad
Right.
was from the island back to the bow.
Okay.
But the elevator, the forward elevator, it just raised it up in the air, and it just fell down in its space, and it's leaning about like that. And all underneath the hangar deck was all burned, all it burned. They said all the guys that were landed up on the hangar deck that waited to get down in the mess hall, the flames, a whole bunch of them, the flames just swept across the hangar deck, and they were incinerated. It just incinerated. They just like vaporized like that.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow,
Excuse
that
me,
is a
we gotta
fire.
stop.
How many decks were on fire?
I guess it went down to probably the third deck at least. I don't know if it went down to fourth or not.
Yeah, how many decks were on the Franklin?
I really don't, 5 or 6, I
Okay.
guess, below the hangar deck.
Right.
At least about 6, I imagine.
Okay.
Because some of them were down, some of the guys were down in the engine room. They were trapped down there. and they stayed down there trying to get the boilers fired up,
Right.
so they could maybe get the ship partly going. And I think they was on the 6th deck, and they were down there before they were rescued. They were down there about 16 hours,
Wow.
and then they went down and rescued them because
I can't
they
imagine.
were running out of air.
Yeah, I can't imagine having enough
Yeah.
air.
My sleeping quarters were on the old one deck. That's up above the hangar deck.
Right.
And it was all, my sleeping quarters were all burned up. And it was forward, close to the bow.
Right.
And there's all burned up.
Good thing you weren't in your bunk.
Everything. I slept on the deck coming back mainly. You know, we came all the way back through the Panama Canal to Brooklyn. But after the Hancock came alongside and took off a lot of the engine and a lot of the personnel that they didn't need, and some others went over there that didn't want to stay aboard the ship,
Yeah.
and the captain didn't like that too much.
Okay.
And then he didn't like too much because some of them jumped overboard, but they had to. They either had to jump overboard or they'd have been killed.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what was your captain's name?
Leslie Gary's,
Okay.
and he was a good captain. He was a big guy. I was really scared of him. He was real big, and
Pretty tough
He was
disciplinarian.
and the admiral, we was the flagship, and the admiral left, and and he suggested that we abandon the ship. Told the captain says, well, none of your business. I'm the captain of this ship. Says, I know I got men trapped down below deck, and I know what happened to other ships. They abandoned them, and they had men trapped, and then they'd take a destroyer and shoot a torpedo into the ship and finish sinking them. He said, I'm not about to let all these men go down if I can rescue them.
What was
So-
the admiral's name?
Leslie Geary's, Geheres.
That's the admiral or the captain?
The captain.
That's captain.
The admiral
Who's
now,
that?
I don't know what his name was. I think it was Davidson.
Okay.
But he left pretty quick. They brought a boatswain's chair and he took him off.
Now, you were in the mess. And where's that located on the ship?
It's about midship.
Okay.
Seemed like it was about midship.
All right. How many decks down?
It was on the 3rd deck.
3rd deck? All right.
And I think the sick bay was on the 3rd deck, and that's where one of the bombs exploded.
Wow. That's pretty
I was
close.
lucky to get over that cat fever
Oh, yeah.
and get out of there
Could,
before
could,
Monday morning.
could you feel the heat of the fires
Uh,
while
I-
you're still trapped?
I know it was hot, but I don't, it was burning on all sides, but I don't remember too much.
Your main problem was you just running out of air.
I was running out of air. That's my main problem, is trying to find some air.
Now, when they dog those hatches, can that be controlled from the bridge, or do individuals have to seal them off?
Individuals seals them
All
off.
right, so you got a fellow who's assigned to probably just about every.
I mean,
Every
I
hatch.
guess it's just something they automatically do when there's problem on the other side.
Right.
You just seal them off.
And Donald Gary helped get you out.
He got us out. Mhm.
Were you first group he took out, or?
I
One of several?
I don't know. I just remember somebody coming in. I was kind of in the kitchen, like away from a lot of them. Somebody said, "Come on, let's go." And I remember passing by this hot plate, and apparently it still had electricity because there's pork chops just frying away. And I thought to myself, how peaceful, and all the chaos here, and those pork chops just frying away.
Yeah, that is something.
Yeah.
Now, tell me again. He led you. Was he in the room with
he
you?
made several trips down there, and they mentioned later, said He didn't have to do that. He risked his life by doing that, you know, coming back. He could have just gone on and left us,
Yeah.
but he didn't do that.
Was
He
he in
promised.
the room that you were in?
He wasn't. He
Okay.
worked his way up there
Okay.
from aft some way.
Okay. And he just came from
Mhm.
section to section to pull you
I
guys
guess
out?
looking for people.
Wow. You really something. It would have been real easy for him to,
It would have been easy for him to just, when he went, found that way to get out, just not come back.
or even if he'd just gone back for one more group, that
But
would have
he-
been more than enough.
Mhm.
And yet he just kept coming, didn't he?
But he said he's gonna come back, and so he did.
Wow.
But
guy.
what group I went out with, I have no idea.
Yeah. Now, where was Donald Gary from, do you know?
He was from California.
Okay.
They named a destroyer after him later on.
Did they really? Wow. And he got the Congressional Medal of Honor
He
for
got
that, didn't
Congressional Medal of Honor for rescuing us.
Okay. Wow. Now, you came up with your friend, and when you got on the deck, he had so much smoke in him
Mm-hmm.
that he laid down on the deck. I don't know if he's passed out or he just laid down on the deck.
He said in a letter he wrote me a letter later, and he said he was slammed up against the bulkhead. But
Okay.
if I slammed up against the bulkhead, I don't remember it. I mean,
Yeah, were you knocked off your feet by the explosion, or?
I don't even remember. You
Huh.
know, I don't remember too much about that. I just knew it just happened.
Right. Now, two of you came up together. He winds up in this famous photograph with
Mm-hmm.
Father,
Father O'Callahan,
O'Callahan.
which they show all the time,
yeah.
and
You're just off camera for that, weren't you?
I wasn't thinking about that.
You laid down on
Oh.
the deck, you got your picture taken.
Yeah, I probably got a Purple Heart. That would have helped me with my VA.
Were you injured in any way? And
Not just smoke was all.
yeah, was down in your lungs pretty bad, or
Well, not. I don't guess it's too bad. I was able to move around.
yeah.
I remember manning water hose when I got out. I did that for a while.
Okay, now you got out, and you looked on the deck, and the whole place is
The
on
whole
fire.
place was burning, and the bombs were going off. But this was up kind of forward, which by the forward elevator that blew up. But it's burning underneath the flight deck. But there was a little space there where it wasn't
Okay.
burning.
And then somebody hands you a fire hose and says,
I
Start
just
using it.
Start using it. And I finally ended up later on the bow because I was up there when the strafing attack took place.
okay. Were you able to control the fires at all with the hoses,
Uh,
or just
It helped some, and then the Hancock came alongside and sprayed water.
okay?
The Hancock really risked getting blown up themselves by coming alongside like they did.
Yeah.
And then later on, they was able to hook a cable up some way to the Pittsburgh at Cruiser, and the Pittsburgh several hours later, and they told us out of harm's way, keep us from drifting toward Japan, and
Right.
get us out of the range of the Japanese planes who were coming in after us,
Okay.
because they was trying to finish us off. They could see us from the mainland, and they was trying to finish us off.
Now you were up on the bow when that second plane came through and strafed the place.
I was up on the bow when it got straight.
He do much damage?
I really don't know where it hit anybody or killed anybody or not.
Did it come very close to you?
Well, see, I had some protection being up there.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of overhanged over the
Right.
flight deck. And then I got behind I remember there was an ensign up there, same time, and he was hiding too, and I was pushing him and he's pushing me, trying to get more protection. He was as scared as I was.
I'll bet. Yeah. And so the ship was drifting. The
It was
admiral got off.
The admiral got off.
No power.
No power.
And why wasn't there any power? Was there damage to the engines, or?
I just don't. I don't really know what happened to them. Later on they finally got one or two started, so we was able to get a few knots after being towed for some distance.
So you were drifting closer and closer.
Closer to
to
Japan.
Japan. How close did you actually get? You know?
Within 50 miles.
50 miles. That's
Mhm.
close.
Yeah, during that, since we hadn't taken Okinawa, that was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you finally got underway, it was because you were hooked on and towed.
Towed.
Okay.
Hmm.
But you didn't really get it under your own
I
speed.
think that we
no.
didn't get towed till later on that day. See, this was early in the morning. We got towed later during the day.
Did you get your boilers fired and
They
running?
got some of them, enough to get a few knots.
Okay.
I don't know whether they ever got all of them or not.
And so you actually, under your own power, you got back away from the Japan a little bit.
Little
and you
bit.
caught up with that cruiser, and that cruiser towed you.
The captain told the admiral when he left, said, if you'll give me protection, I think I can save this ship. I'm going to try to save it. You know.
Wow.
And then the ship became known as the ship that won't be sunk, will not be sunk.
Yeah.
The ship that wouldn't die, I think is what they called it. And later on, the captain put everybody to work. He worked us night and day because he said if he didn't, he'd have a ship full of mental cases. Then he got to Brooklyn. He says, I didn't have one mental case.
Yeah.
And when we got to Hawaii, we had a small band what was left, and they used whatever instruments or whatever they couldn't make up, whatever they could, used to make a little music, and they played the old Gray Mary ain't what she used to be. We had a famous director aboard named Saxy Dow. He'd wrote some song, I think it's Three Blind Mice or some
Yeah,
song
yeah.
he'd wrote.
Oh, we are.
But-
You said Gene Kelly. You came across Gene Kelly somewhere.
Gene Kelly came aboard the ship when we was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
He came aboard. But the captain, during the height of the battle, I think he kind of knocked down and he asked the executive officer what happened, and the executive officer said a plane just flew over and dropped some bombs.
Yeah.
And the captain said during the height of the battle, he said the 23rd Psalms came to him,
Yeah.
and he said he could just hear it, you know, as if it was being the voice.
Right.
And he said after that he knew everything was going to be all right.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty neat. Now, the thing was, the Franklin was covered with plywood. That's the description I had from a fellow.
Oh, the
who passed
flight deck,
it. Yeah.
I think it was wood.
Okay. But you'd patched an awful lot of holes on it, temporary
A lot
patches.
of holes. But see, the hangar deck, it was armor piercing. It was real thick. But one of the bombs still went through it.
Yeah, the picture of that hangar, that elevator just popped up.
Popped
like,
out, I
that
mean,
thing's
like
huge.
that. It shows that in that picture in yonder
Yeah.
that I have.
Wow. Now, you came back to, they towed you back to Hawaii.
Well, they didn't have to tow us all the way. They towed us to somewhere close to the Philippines, and they did some minor repairs.
Okay.
And then we were able to come to Hawaii on our own power with escorts.
Were you able to compensate the list? I mean,
They got the list compensated for.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they were busy all the way in burying the dead. You know, we couldn't have a perform a funeral like they normally do when just one dies.
Right.
We just couldn't do that. Had to get them off the ship
Wow.
because we had so many. We had close to 800, was killed that day.
Oh my. Oh my.
So
How many were in the crew? How many?
about, I think it's 2,500, counting the pilots.
Big percentage of the crew died that day.
About a third,
Wow. Wow.
and lost a lot of pilots. A lot of them.
Did you lose any personal friends?
I
In
did.
this?
Well, not real personal. I just knew them in boot camp.
Right. I mean, some of the fellows.
Well, I did lose one personal friend. I worked with him in the gunnery office, and he told me about when the kamikaze hit, how scared he was, and he got killed. And somebody told me later that they helped carry him off the ship and buried him at sea.
Yeah, what was his name?
Raymond Desmarais. I'll never forget his name.
Wow.
Raymond
Desmarais?
Desmarais.
How you spell that?
I think it's D-E Maris, M-A-R-I-O-U-S. I believe
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah. What kind of a guy was he? What was he
he was
like?
a real nice guy. He was from, I think, on the East Coast. His religious faith was Catholic.
Oh.
He was a very fine guy. Approximately, I guess, maybe a year older than me.
So, some of the other fellows that were killed, do you know any of them?
I knew some of the yeomen.
Can you tell me much about any of them? Or?
Well, I didn't know, really that much about them.
Right.
I just knew their names. I knew one yeoman that is in this special project that NBC made. He was a yeoman. He later became a Catholic priest. And I've seen him at a reunion we had. I've been to a reunion we had in Charleston
Right.
in '89. He was there.
So you went to Hawaii on your own power.
And then from Hawaii, they had to take off a gun mount on the side so we could go through the Panama Canal.
Oh, really?
So they had put this gun mount on, I guess, after they had brought the ship from the East Coast. They put it on the West Coast. But they had to take it off. We couldn't get through the gates of the Panama Canal.
Had to be really close.
Yeah.
Were you,
And-
were you scraping the sides?
We would have been. It was real close.
Yeah.
And as we was coming up the East Coast, well, see, the war wasn't over with Germany yet.
Right.
It was nearly over. A German submarine got after us. And that would have really finished us off.
my.
They'd have put a torpedo at us. So they sent out a seaplane and a destroyer to escort us on into Brooklyn.
Right.
And I'd never seen a place like New York City, and that was something going into Brooklyn.
Oh, I bet.
Going by the Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
that was really great.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Is it bigger than Big Valley?
Well, it was something.
Did you get to spend any time in the city when you were there? Or?
I did. See, I was stationed. I was stationed aboard the ship. I had to stay, when the war ended in August, I had to stay until June the 6th of '46.
Okay.
I couldn't get out till then. So I was in from August after the war was over. And they put me in the receiving station, put us in a receiving station at the naval base. And I went all over New York and took part in various activities they had there, and
Right.
went to see all the stuff in New York. Went to the top of the Empire State Building. And I'd stand about block away when this twin-engine plane hit the Empire State Building in
No kidding.
1945. Had you heard about this?
Yeah, that B-25.
It hit it, and we heard the explosion. We was eating breakfast at Serviceman's place.
Yeah.
We all ran outside and could see the smoke coming out on about the 86th floor, I think, where it hit.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cloudy that day, and I guess it got lost.
Huh.
And
Was there any debris in the street? I mean, did you see any of that?
we didn't go that far. We
Okay.
just stood outside and looked about a block away.
Wow.
You know, there was one girl that was running elevator. She fell from about the 86th floor and broke about every bone in her
Oh my.
body, but she survived.
She survived
I
it?
remember reading about her in the Reader's Digest
Oh my
later.
gosh. Wow. Now, when you saw the World Trade Center hit, did you think, because of seeing that, did you think, oh, there's been a terrible accident, or did you think it was intentional?
Well, when the World Trade Center was hit, we were on our way with the group from Austin. We were going to Canada, Western Canada,
Right.
and we had just left Dallas-Fort Worth Airport,
Right.
and we were probably to Amarillo. And the captain came aboard and said, there's been a security problem. We're turning around and going back. We didn't know what it was. We thought maybe there might have been a bomb on one of American Airlines planes,
Right.
and they're making us go back. And somebody had a cell phone, which they weren't supposed to use, and they found out what it was.
Wow.
But the captain later came on and said it was a national security problem. So we had to go back, and we had to stay on the tarmac at Fort Worth DFW for about an hour before they let us off. There's so many planes every plane, had to go back and
Right.
land.
Well, I've never not talked to anybody that was in that situation. That was an unbelievable day.
It was.
Just within a couple of hours, every plane in the United States was back down on the ground.
Back down on the ground.
That had to really take some doing to make that happen.
I guess we had gotten breakfast with,
Huh.
and some little girl was going to see her mama, and she was real scared.
Yeah.
And she talked to her mama, and mama was worried about it. And she said, "Mama, don't worry. There's 30 Baptists from Austin aboard this plane. They're all praying like everything."
That's great. That's great. So, you got back to Brooklyn. You say Gene Kelly came on board.
Yeah, Gene Kelly came aboard, and
He come
being
in-
a movie star like he wasn't an enlisted man. He was already an officer.
Oh, was he? Now, did he come in to kind of entertain folks or greet them?
No, I guess it's just he was in public relations, so
Okay. I don't know whether he'd been assigned to the Franklin or.
He wasn't assigned to the
Okay.
Franklin. He was just, they made him public relations, officer, being what he was.
Right.
But I was home on leave when they broke the news about the Franklin, I was here in Goldthwaite, and
Oh.
they splashed it all over the newspapers and
Huh.
Life magazine, everywhere else.
So the rest of the country didn't know about it.
They didn't know about it. Because when we left, they gave us a little form letter to send out to our parents.
Right.
And I just sent my parents this letter, and they told us what to say. That we were safe in case they'd heard anything. Because word had got out, somebody seen us go through the Panama Canal. It's hard to keep secrets like
Yeah.
that very long. And they released the news. We got back, it took about, I can't remember exactly, 4 weeks or so, more longer to get to Brooklyn. And they released the news. I was one of the first group got the 30-day leave.
Right.
And they released it while I was home. And then showed the newsreel in the theater.
Huh. That's really something. So after your leave, where'd you go? Did you
I went back
Went back to
and
the
stayed
Franklin?
aboard, attached to the Franklin until I didn't work on the Franklin. We had to work out in our office in the
Right.
Brooklyn Navy Yard. Finally moved back on the Franklin at just before I got discharged.
Okay. So the,
But that wasn't bad duty then.
no,
You know, we got a lot of liberty and a lot in New York treated us real good.
I
You
bet.
know, they gave us free tickets to shows, movies, and you know, Broadway plays that you couldn't even get tickets for. They gave
Yeah.
us tickets.
wow.
They treated us real good.
Good to be a survivor.
Well, yeah, they for 6 months they treated us real good, and after that, I guess they got tired of us.
Did thought ever go through your mind that, you know, why did I survive when so many others?
Well, you know, I
died?
sometimes wonder. You know, I just if I'd been 5 minutes later or earlier, I'd been lined up to get down,
Right.
and all of them died. Or if I hadn't got out of sick bay,
Yeah.
and I thought at the time I was in a bad place, but since I survived, it's better than being where some of them were.
Right.
And you wonder sometimes. And then after I got out, you know, I went to college, and then I had joined the Naval Reserves a year later. I was inactive.
Right.
They called me back during the Korean War.
Oh boy.
And so they flew me to Japan, and I had just graduated from UT Pharmacy School.
Right.
So I'd only been working about 3 months, and I got called back in January, and the war, you know, started in June, I think.
Right.
I got out of school in August, and I'd been working in Lampasas, Texas, 3 months.
That'd be tough, just getting over one war and then being called back to another one.
They sent me to Japan, flew me to Japan on Pan American.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. Then I worked in the hospital pharmacy for 16 months at Yokosuka.
How'd you feel about going to Japan, knowing that the Japanese had killed so many of your friends? How'd you feel toward the Japanese people at that point?
Oh,
You pretty much gotten over it? Or,
they were real polite. You know, you could ride their trains, and it's so crowded you could push them around. They never raise their voice.
huh.
We had one old Japanese captain as captain of the ship that worked at the hospital as a janitor.
Right.
And he'd been captain of a ship,
Huh.
and he had so many ships blown out from him he couldn't hear nothing. He's deaf.
Oh.
And he was kind of belligerent in a way.
Yeah. It's odd.
But I didn't like the idea of going back in so soon after I got out of school. But during the Korean War, you know, they only called the reserves in.
Right.
They didn't draft anybody. But I got to see Japan, and it wasn't bad duty. So it was a pretty good experience.
Did you wind up over in Korea, or were Japan
No,
was the
I never
accelerator?
did get any further than Yokosuka.
Okay.
You know, that's just outside Tokyo. Since they measure everything by minutes, it's 30 minutes from Tokyo.
Okay. Now, when you were in the Franklin, did you run into any storms or rough seas?
We
way over?
did. We all got seasick.
Yeah.
Big as the Franklin was, you know, it didn't shake like the destroyers.
Right.
You know, they looked like they was gonna roll over.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we all got seasick, and so the captain ordered scrambled eggs for lunch because it's supposed to settle your stomach, and it seemed to work pretty good.
Huh.
I'd be walking across the deck, and it seemed like my feet didn't even touch the deck. So,
Did you get to know anybody outside of your group very much?
not too many, just mainly in the gunnery.
Yeah.
And in the compartment where I slept. I knew the Protestant chaplain pretty good. He was from Fort Worth. He was a Methodist by religious affiliation.
Do you remember his name by any chance?
I can't think of it now. I did know it, but he came from, I called him one time and asked him if he's coming to a reunion years later. He was in Tennessee,
Right.
and he said his health was too bad.
Huh.
Grimes? Seemed like his name was Grimes. I'm not sure. They gave him the Navy Star. But Father O'Callahan, they gave him Congressional Medal of Honor. He helped dump over bombs that, was fixing to explode. And
Wow.
got working parties to go in. Cause when the Hancock came by, he asked the captain if the magazines had been flooded. And the captain said yes.
Yeah.
Found out later one of them hadn't been flooded.
Oh boy.
And if it had blown up, the ship surely would have gone down.
Oh yeah.
And he did a lot of dumping, ammunition out of those ready rooms.
Right.
And the captain said one time, I believe that's the bravest man alive. Seemed like he has a halo over his head.
Huh.
He's just going here and that everywhere,
Yeah.
doing things. And so they gave him Congressional Medal of Honor for it. And he deserved it.
Did you have any personal heroes? Maybe a particular person, or maybe a group of fellows?
I guess if I had a personal hero, it'd be Don Aguirre, because
Yeah.
right from them, we'd all gone down.
Right.
At least 299 of us would have.
You,
And
you're so appreciative. You named one of your sons after him.
I did. I named Gary after him.
Yeah. So when you got out of the Navy, when did you actually get out of the Navy?
I got out of Navy on June the 6th, 1946. On July 1st, I started the UT in Austin. They had a short 6-week session. Then I kept going till I graduated in 1950.
But during this time, you're also in the reserves.
I joined the reserves a year later.
Okay.
Otherwise, my time would have been up before the Korean War started.
Okay.
And then after I got in, Truman added a year. We call it Truman's year. Like they're doing now in Iraq.
Yeah.
They're adding.
Yeah.
They get in, their time goes up, and then they add some. That's what they did to us.
Yeah. What'd you think of Truman?
I like Truman.
He's an interesting guy. We've talked to a fellow who's spent time with him. Well, a couple of guys who spent time with him, talked to him. So he's just a plain old ordinary guy.
Yeah, I liked him because he made decisions, and he stuck with them.
So what do
He
you think?
wasn't afraid to make decisions.
What do you think about dropping the atomic bomb?
Well, it shortened the war, and if we'd had to invade Japan, it would have killed thousands. They'd have fought to the death,
Yeah.
and we'd have lost a lot of course, we killed a lot of civilians, but they were so cruel to our POWs.
Yes.
And these suicide bombers they have in Iraq now is nothing new. Japan did that years ago.
Right.
Those guys knew when they started out that they weren't coming back.
Well, you could tell even from that they would have fought to the end.
They would
They're
have.
willing to be suicide.
In
bomber.
Okinawa, a lot of them wouldn't surrender.
Right.
They'd commit harikari, and a lot of them showed them jumping off cliffs.
Wow.
Even some of the civilians jumped off the cliffs.
So you came back to Goldthwaite,
Goldthwaite.
and you're out of the Navy now. You're you're back in school. I know you're married.
I got married after I got out of the Korean War. I met Peggy in Arlington, Texas.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about that story and how you met her?
Well, she was working in a bank on one corner, and I was working in a drugstore on another corner.
Yeah.
And that's how we got together.
Okay.
I mean,
Would you walk into the bank and see her there?
well, It's just a bunch of kids that all kind of ran around together, and they got me involved with them,
Okay.
and I had a new car, and that was pretty attractive.
Oh.
They all wanted to ride in my new car.
You remember where you took her on your first date?
Well, I don't, just around in Arlington, I think. We mainly went down to her house and ate at our folks' house.
Yeah. So how long did you date before you finally figured out this is the one?
About a year, I guess.
Out here. Did you make a real flowery proposal to her, or?
I kind of, I guess, is more or less a proposal. She might have proposed to me, I don't. Anyway, we've been married, it'll be 51 years
Wow.
in August.
That is quite a record.
Mhm.
That is something.
And I lived in Rising Star 31 years. I owned a drugstore there. Little small town, smaller than Goldthwaite,
Yeah.
which is about 57 miles kind of north of here, over north of Brownwood.
Okay.
And then
Now when were you married? August when?
it was August 3rd, I believe.
3rd? Okay.
Gary's birthday's 8th. I get that mixed up. August the 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, 53.
All right. And you have, wait a minute. So,
About 3.
okay. And you had children by this marriage, and
2 boys.
2 boys. What are the names and a little something about each one?
Well, let's see, Gary, after he got out of high school, he went to Southwest Texas State.
Okay.
It's now Texas State University. It was Southwest Texas State University then, down in San Marcos. And, you know, he majored in computer science.
Right.
And he first started out in psychology, and somebody got him, one of his advisors got him on computer science because he had a knack for it.
Right.
So he graduated real good with honors from Southwest Texas State. And then Glenn, he graduated from University of Texas Arlington. He majored in accounting and got his both bachelor's and master's, and he's CPA.
Okay.
And he works for a contract defense department in Sherford, works in Laurel, Massachusetts.
Okay.
But he had worked for him 10 years, and then he quit and went out on his own, and he moved to Red River. He thought he was going to do consulting work. That didn't work out too good, and then he went to Denver and started teaching computer courses for some company. He went around over the country. And then he finally went to work for mental health, mental retardation data processing. Last September, he saw, you know, they have to get funding, and he saw a chance. He started applied back with the government, and so happened that the girl he had worked with in Dallas was up in Massachusetts, and she totally hired him back, and that was a good thing because that's a good steady job.
Yeah.
You know,
Hard to
they won't
find.
be outsourcing it to a foreign country because they can't, because they can't hire nobody unless you're U.S. citizens.
Yeah. Okay, let's stop here and we'll switch out. 0020, tape number 3. Okay,
I was able to
you-
go to school, you know, like all guys under GI Bill.
GI Bill, yeah.
Because, you know, during the 30s, everybody was pretty poor.
Right.
You know, nobody had any money, and my
Yeah.
folks couldn't possibly have sent me to school.
If it hadn't been for the GI Bill, would you have gone to school? Tried to do it anyway.
I probably would, in some way, because I was determined, I don't know, from early age that education was important.
Okay.
And I would have probably gone some way. I might have been pretty old, but I might have had to work, but that was a godsend.
Okay.
And the government, it paid off for the government. You know, put guys in higher tax bracket, and they got a lot of taxes back. And at
Hadn't thought
UT
about
at that time, they had 18,000 students, and I thought, it's too big for me. But since I'd been in the Navy, it made it easier. But if right out of high school, I probably wouldn't have stayed. And now they got 52,000.
Wow,
Became the biggest university in the United States.
that's a lot of people.
It is.
There's an awful lot of towns that don't have that many in them. During the Depression itself, living on the farm, you probably had enough to eat,
Living on
didn't
the
you?
farm, we always had a garden,
Okay,
and we raised chickens,
okay,
and we always killed a hog. You know, every year we'd kill a hog, and we had a smokehouse, and we always had a watermelon patch.
yeah,
My mother canned corn. I remember they'd all get together. She'd always can about 100 cans of corn each year.
right,
Had an old pressure cooker. And everybody was poor, but you didn't know any better, and you thought that's the way it's supposed to be.
right,
And the farm we belonged to wasn't very big, but it belonged to my grandmother.
okay,
My granddad had a big farm, but that didn't help us too much.
yeah. Well, that's, the folks who lived on farms did pretty good during.
They did pretty
except for the ones
good.
that lost their farms, and that
Yeah.
wasn't too good.
But we always had chickens, fried chicken. We raised turkeys and milked cows and sold the milk to a cheese factory they had here in Goldthwaite at the time.
Oh, really? A cheese
Mhm.
factory here?
Some guy came around and picked it up.
Yeah. We think of cheese factories as being in Wisconsin, not in Texas.
Well, that's true.
Has there been anything in your life that you wanted to get around to, you just haven't done it yet?
Not really. Since I retired in '89, you know, I got to go on all these trips and with these groups.
Right.
And so that was real great because I had never, while I was working in the drugstore, I worked long hours, 6 days a week, didn't take any vacations hardly at all.
Yeah.
And I was on call at night, weekends. And so after I got out, I started going on these trips. So,
Now, how long did you work in the drugstore?
well, I worked 31 years on the drugstore in Ryan Strong. Before that, I'd worked in Arlington
Right.
2 years. Then I'd worked in Waco for a chain drugstore 4 years, and I managed the chain drugstore the last 2 years.
All right.
And then the head of the wholesale drug company down there told me he had a store for me. And I wasn't thinking about a store. I was pretty happy where I was working. He
Right.
says, "I want you to go look at this store. The guy had a heart attack and just died, and the widow lady's got to sell it." So he took me out to Rising Star, and that was a big change. Little old bitty town, and I just bought me a house in Waco
Yeah.
under the GI Bill, and I had to move this. I only had 2 houses rent, Rising Star, and this little bitty house,
Right.
and it's a big come down. But we managed, and we finally bought a old house that's 100 years old that has built with square nails.
Yeah.
They'd moved it from the country. His old 2-story house, and the wood, we added on to it, and the wood was petrified. I think you couldn't even nail it. That's when I found out it had square nails. And they put it on a fence row, you know, where fence row where the sand builds up, and when they had to do plumbing, he had to tunnel underneath, dig him a tunnel to get in under there to do any plumbing.
Oh, gee whiz.
And then it was cold in the winter and hot in summer, but we managed for 31 years, and that's where our 2 boys were raised.
Yeah. Oh,
They
okay,
did.
now, you had a drugstore. I'm not clear on this. Were you a pharmacist?
I was a pharmacist. See,
Okay.
I had graduated from UT Pharmacy School.
Okay.
When I went in the Navy, the second time I was a pharmacist. That's the reason I was able to work in the hospital pharmacy in the big naval hospital in Yokosuka.
Tough schooling for pharmacy.
House what?
Yeah, pharmacy, that's tough schooling.
Well, it's tougher now than it used to be. It's hard to get in.
You almost have to be a doctor to be a pharmacist.
They make them go 6 years now, I think. I just went 4.
Okay.
But it's really tough to get into any school nowadays. I have a friend, their daughter's graduated from Texas A&M, and she's been trying to get in pharmacy school and can't. They want you to have a straight A, I think, or high score, high school score. When Gary tried to get a job, even though he graduated with honors from Southwest Texas,
Right.
with Browning Root, the high school in Rising Star had him listed in the 2nd percentile. Even though he graduated 3rd in his class, they'd made a mistake and they wouldn't give him a job. They went back to his high school record. And so Peggy had to go to the principal and get him to change all that.
Yeah.
They had it wrong. And then after it got changed, then Browning Root gave him a job. But that's how strict they are.
That's strict.
And they're stricter now than it was when I got, because when I was in UT, we was mainly GIs.
Right.
We was all on about the same level. And I'd hate to have to go back and compete with these smart high school kids nowadays. You know, they have so much more advantage than I had. Because when I was growing up, we had no newspapers,
Yeah.
no radio, and we just had reading and writing in that grammar, and we didn't have all this advantage that these kids now that makes them so smart.
Oh, I'm not
But
sure
I
how
think
smart
probably
some are.
sometimes we learned something that maybe they didn't. You know, we learned work ethic and appreciate things more, maybe.
Well, you probably got pretty close to your customers too.
Oh yeah, in a small town, yeah, it's real close. Yeah, I knew them all real well.
And it's important to work.
And
in
they
pharmacy.
knew you, because you're in a glass bowl.
Yeah.
And if you do anything bad, they'll know about it. And if you don't treat them right in a small town, you won't last.
Yeah.
Because you can't mistreat them in a small town. If you lose a few, you don't have any more to get them from, you're gone.
Right. Why don't you put it on pause here? You can see the list on this thing. It's unbelievable how this thing is listing. Can you hear it all? This be one of the burials at sea, I take it.
That bear at sea was the day before we got hit. We had 3 sailors that drank torpedo juice, and I think 2 of them that got their stomach pumped out in time. This one they didn't.
I'll be darned. Would have been interesting to know what would have happened to him if he hadn't died that day. If he'd been,
Whether he would have
would
survived.
have survived or not. This one shows the Franklin back underway again on its own power, but the deck's all scarred with debris and
I'm getting a low light here.
okay,
There, that's fine.
okay.
Just- If I get this right, I'm in trouble.
All right.
Oh my.
Show you some of the thick smoke. Look at the smoke coming out of that thing. You can't imagine just one bomb creating such a mess, but they were just firing all through the ship.
Well, there were 2 bombs.
Right.
One being armor piercing.
Yeah. What's this one? Is this the elevator, the hole where the elevator was?
I think that's just a hole that the bomb made in the ship.
That is a hole.
All the planes that were aboard the ship might have made that hole when they started blowing up.
Some more of the fire. This gives you some idea of what the Japanese saw probably from the coastline. See that big trail of smoke there? You had to have been able to see that for miles out on the water. And you drifted within 50 miles of the island, completely helpless. They could have got you with a submarine or more planes or anything.
Or a suicide plane.
Yeah. Wow. One other I saw.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if you got this
I
one.
got that one.
You got this one?
Yeah, I got that
Yeah,
one.
I'm just impressed by the
That
flames
was
coming
oil
out of
fire.
that gun turret.
That was one of those, not what called that gun, big gun.
Well, we got some others here. This is the man who saved you. Not Harry Truman. It's Donald Gary. Although Truman helped out. Getting some.
You're getting, there you go. You're getting shadow from somewhere.
Okay. It's Donald Gary, Medal of Honor winner, who helped so many folks get up, and he kept going back and back and back again to help more fellows. It's another good picture showing the smoke billowing out of this ship. Were there other aircraft carriers in the area?
There were. We probably had quite a few. I don't know how many.
Do you recall
we
that?
were in task force called Task Force 58.2,
Okay.
and I don't know how many aircraft carriers we had, but I'm sure we had some more.
This is the famous picture of
That's Robert Blanchard,
okay.
and he was living in Brooklyn at the time.
He's the fellow that came up with you, and that's Father O'Callahan. Now, wasn't this in Life magazine?
It was in Life magazine and Look magazine and all the newspapers at that time.
Now, where were you in relationship to this picture?
I really don't know. I was up on the flight deck, I suppose, somewhere, but where I was, I don't know. I don't remember seeing it being him. I don't remember seeing him getting lice rights aboard the ship. But he apparently got out about the same time I did.
There again, just showing the
The list.
I don't know what kept that from rolling over.
It just a few more degrees, it probably would have.
Now, that would have been bad.
That would be, and then we'd lost everybody.
Your captain was quite a guy to be able to save the ship and think of the others. He gets a lot of credit for that. Now, is this the, what was the Hancock that came
It was the
alongside?
Hancock, a destroyer.
Yeah? Wow. There wasn't a whole lot between them getting blown up and along with you, or even from the list. I mean,
It took a lot of seamanship for him to maneuver as close as he did.
yeah. Well, that's pretty impressive. That elevator blown out like
They
that.
said it blew up about 6 feet or more in the air and then fell down like that.
Wow.
Terrible explosion must have been under it.
Well, I've got one more picture to add here. And that's the one you're holding. I'll just take it. Let's see. This what, Clark Gable? I can't quite tell from here.
More like Gabby Hayes.
Now, when did you say this picture was taken?
It was taken just right after I got out of boot camp, just before I went aboard the Franklin.
Yeah. I'll bet you weren't smiling like that on the Franklin. Wow. That's pretty good. All right. Put on pause.
In that picture, I didn't think anything could happen.
Pretty fearless, weren't you? Nothing bad's going to happen.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Would you put it on pause for a moment here?
Did it turn on?
Yeah, it's on. Well, he gave us some version of how the two of you met. What's your side of the story?
Well, I worked at Arlington State Bank.
Okay.
He got a job as pharmacist across the street.
Yeah.
And I knew that new pharmacist was over there, but he's kind of timid. Every time I went in, he went to the back. And we had a group of about 20 young people from the church that ran around together all the time. We were going to Forest Park Zoo. My sister went with a boy named Jerry that lived with a Miss Collins. He lived with Miss Collins. So he came to the picnic in his new car, parked at the church, and all the girls gathered around him. And he came over and got in the car with Gwen and Jerry and me and Danny, and went with us. And then I never did go with Danny anymore. I went with Bill after that. All the time.
So he was quite the center of attention back then. Huh?
Oh yeah, he was an eligible bachelor.
I didn't realize then
He didn't know what was
they
going
know
on.
they had the claws out.
And then they were all mad at us because we got him to go with us. But see, he knew Jerry,
Yeah.
and so he was more comfortable going in the car with us over there. And we had a good time, and so then we started going together and went together about a year before we got
Yeah,
married.
that's what I told them.
And then my sister and her husband got married in June, and then we got married in August in the same summer.
Wow.
And you know, we double dated the whole time because he's the only one that had a car.
Oh. That's okay. Yeah. So, who really decided you were going to get married? Had you figured it out that he's the one, or did he figure out that you were the one?
I don't know what he figured out. I had to figure it out.
Yeah. So, what would you tell folks about Billy?
He doesn't argue. He's the most kind, sweet person. He's a peacemaker. We don't have conflicts a lot in our family. We just kind of talk it out, and I mean, you know, we don't have angry spells. We get angry, but we don't keep anger.
I don't like conflicts.
He doesn't like conflicts at all, but he's always been such a kind person, and he was to the people at the drugstore. You know, they all loved him. They all loved him. They thought he was better than the doctor. So
A good pharmacist is better than a good doctor just about any time. That's for sure.
but,
I knew I wasn't the doctor, though.
we worked together in the store for 31 years, side by side.
A lot of togetherness.
I ran the front, he ran the pharmacy, and then when he needed me, I got on the computer and put prescriptions through, and I did all the book work, and so it was really a mom and pop store. And raised 2 kids. They lived in the same house the whole time. Well, one of them didn't. One of them was born at Waco, but
Neither one of them was interested in going to pharmacy school. They saw how long hours I had.
Oh.
I got called out at night and weekends, and they just never was interested. And I could get the little one, the youngest boy. He did help me when he was. I'd set him on a stool, and he knew how to type, and he typed out. I taught him how to type out labels. As before with computer days. Now the computer does everything.
Well, you two impressed me as being quite a team. You work well together.
we've had a very good life. God's been really good to us.
That's
I
right.
always told him I wouldn't move to Goldthwaite because we spent 31 years in a little bitty town. So we retired to Austin.
Yeah.
Traffic got so bad, we decided that we needed to get out while we could still drive,
Right.
get to a place where we could drive longer.
Right.
And I don't know, God kind of closed the door on Bernie. We wanted there because of the hospital and the recreation center. And this house was in the paper that weekend, and he brought it in and showed me, and I said, well, did you call on it? And he said, no, you won't move to Goldthwaite. And I said, go call. And we came down the next day and bought it and have never looked back, have never been sorry.
Can't imagine that you would. Can't imagine that you would. There's 2 things in life that'll make you rich. One is a good set of parents, and the other is a good spouse. And
We
so
both had good set of parents.
We have both.
Very good parents.
you did really, really well for yourselves in that regard.
We're both the middle of 5, so we know the give and take from both sides of it. You know, there was 5 siblings in both families, and we're both the middle.
Although our parents grew up, we were very poor. Of course, everybody was poor in the 30s, I think.
Right.
And we were very poor, but we had good parents. So we always had plenty to eat.
Billy, what do you think you got out of the Navy? What did it do for you?
You grow up fast,
Yeah.
especially after that. I was on my own from the time I got out of high school. I made all the decisions for myself about going to NYA school, about where I was going. I already decided where I was going to college before I got out of the Navy, and I already had applied and was already admitted the time I got out. I guess I just self-reliant.
Yeah.
More self-reliant, but I know the Navy's made me more cautious. I'm cautious about a lot of things. I don't like fires. I don't like to go to fires. And
We tried being a volunteer fire guy and Rising Storm, that didn't work.
I did it for a while, but I couldn't do my work and being called out at night. And,
Did you have anything you had to adjust to when you came back? I mean, some fellas, they didn't like fireworks. There are just certain things that just set them off, certain smells or sounds that.
I was very nervous, wasn't I?
He was.
I
When-
I never did smoke, but I started smoking in the Navy.
Right.
Cigarettes for 5 cents a package out at sea. And I was practically a chain smoker,
He
I
was a
guess,
chain smoker when
for
I
a couple of
met him.
years, and then I quit because it made me cough, and I just quit for good eventually.
But he didn't talk about a lot of this for a long, long time. I mean, very little. A little bit, but not a whole lot. And when we went to the Yorktown,
Uh-huh.
the Franklin has a room there
They have a lot of,
that got a lot of memorabilia and everything. And we were going through the Yorktown, and we got to this certain little room down by the kitchen, and Bill just kind of turned really white and backed up in a corner and was just down there shaking, and he said, this is where I was,
Wow.
on the other ship. And it just, I think that really brought it back to him right then.
You probably never seen anybody killed in combat until that day.
no, I hadn't. They asked for volunteers to help dispose of the bodies, but I couldn't do that. Saw some of them dead and they was burnt to a crisp, and I couldn't do it. One black guy told on this film, y'all want to see. He helped do it, and he says, I couldn't eat anything for a week. All I could do is drink black coffee.
Yeah. That'd be a horrible thing to see. Do you ever wonder why you survived and the others?
Well, I wonder that sometimes, It's just, you wonder. See, I've had all these years since 1945, and they just had 18 years, and doesn't seem fair.
It doesn't, but
But war's not fair.
if you think about it, by surviving and living your life in a normal fashion, if they sacrificed their life so that you could go on, and every time you had your children or did something positive in life, got married, that really honored their sacrifice, as opposed to just sitting down and feeling sorry for yourself for the rest of your days and not going on with your life.
He's never done that.
Your sacrifice
No.
actually meant something.
I never felt sorry for her. I mean, when you're young like that, you can throw it off a little easier.
Right.
But as you get older, it kind of comes back. But then when you're young, it's a little easier. Sometimes I have nightmares. I wake up and she has to punch me.
You don't have them near as much
I don't
as
have
you
like I
to.
used to. I start like something's after me.
And what's the fear there? The fire?
No, it's not the fire. It's just I'm in a situation I can't get out.
Being
Something's about to
trapped.
get me.
Well, being trapped.
And
when
I
you're
start
suffocated.
hollering in my sleep.
Yeah.
I make a weird sound, don't I?
Oh,
It's bone chilling when he does it, but he hasn't done it. near
It's
as
been
bad.
quite a while.
In the last few years. He hadn't had near as many as he used to have.
I'm always
The
afraid.
first few were scary.
Yeah, I'm always afraid when I dredge up some of these memories that they're going to have a reaction to it later on.
Yeah.
That bothers me.
It's something that, experience like that, it never leaves you. You think about it practically every day. It never leaves you. But so many people have gone through bad experiences. We've had so many wars,
That's
real bad experiences like in Iraq.
Yeah.
In the Vietnam War, they had bad. A lot of those guys never did get over it. They just wrecked them for life.
They just put them through
They,
the meat grinder and didn't do
A
anything for
lot
them.
of them have become homeless. They can't hold a job. They become addicted or alcoholics. I never did have that temptation.
I certainly admire, one thing I admire about the World War II generation is that they went through hardship and, we'll go through hardship. I don't need umpteen counselors helping me out of this situation. It's just, that's life, and I'll do what I have to do.
Just
to
get
press
on with it.
Get on with it. It's not good to suppress things, but at the same time, you don't have to wallow in it.
That's right.
So there's strength there. Do you think of anything we've missed here?
Nope.
Anything about your life that you've missed that we haven't talked about?
Boy, I can't really think of anything.
Okay. Well, we always give our veterans a chance to say a few words for posterity. You got any personal philosophy or words of wisdom you'd like to share with folks?
Thank you. Just be positive
Great.
and be optimistic. And I've always tried to be optimistic and positive because you can do anything you want to do if you set your mind to it.
That's good philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, Yeoman Dennard, I want to thank you for
You bet. I'm
this
thank
opportunity
y'all.
for your service to our country.
Thank y'all for coming.